All right, ladies and gents. I know it's not Wednesday, but we had a team meeting last night. Should put something out there here for Fans Only Sports Network fans and our friends alike in general who come and tune into the show every week. But tonight, Thursday, 6 p.m., we are going live and we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. But to start off, you're watching Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. I am your host, Chet. And to my right is my counterpart, Duffy. Duffy, how are we doing tonight, my man?
Good man. Like you said, team meeting last night. Great job. Shout out to our CEO and boss, Ron Robert, hooking everyone up with some pizza, Coke, and Sprite, etc. Great time at the meeting last night at our new office in Warwick, Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
Nice to always see Chet in person. We're both wearing the same hoodies as yesterday. Still,
And I'll see you tomorrow night and Saturday
I
at
will.
those hockey games. We're gonna be calling two games together.
Really, two big games this weekend for me and Chet on Fans Only Sports Network on YouTube. We got the Exeter West Greenwich and LaSalle game tomorrow. And on Saturday, we have the Moses Brown hockey game. I forget what they're playing on Saturday, but we have that game also. So check us out on YouTube, Fans Only Sports Network with a Z. And tune in to those matchups. Tomorrow's night's game will be at 9 o'clock. So you're not going to want to miss it.
Definitely not going to want to miss it. Some D1 high school hockey here in the state of Rhode Island. It's going to be big things to talk about. But you folks didn't come on the show to hear us talk about high school. We're here to talk about the pros and what's going on right now. So the big thing right out of the gate, before we even get into the Patriots, we're going to start with a special segment. We didn't get to talk about it earlier this week, but as we know, earlier in the week, Demaryius Thomas, former Denver Bronco and former team member of even the New England Patriots and the Houston Texans, spent 9 seasons in the NFL, tragically passed away at age 33 due to injuries from a car accident he was in like months ago.
I'm pretty sure he had a seizure, dude.
Yeah, it was a seizure, but it was brought on from those
car
injuries.
accident? Oh,
Yeah, it was brought on from those
nuts.
injuries. So a big uh I'm kind of lost for words, kind of just really thinking about it, because I watched him when I was a kid, and for me, watching Demaryius Thomas, that was one of the league's best receivers at the time. He was just
Yeah.
unbelievable in the plays, and obviously when you think back on Demaryius Thomas's career, one of the major highlights you can think about is the overtime win that the Denver Broncos had with Tim Tebow throwing him that first play of overtime to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round, which they wouldn't win a playoff game until Peyton Manning came in, obviously, after that. They lost to the New England Patriots that year in the divisional round at Foxborough. But nonetheless, Demaryius Thomas had an amazing career in the NFL, finished with 724 receptions for 9,763 career receiving yards and 63 touchdowns in his career total. World lost him too soon, and our hearts go out to his family and all former teammates and loved ones who remembered him.
That's right. Especially people like me and you, Chet, big Pats fans. You know, there's obviously the Pats Peyton Manning rivalry. Whether he was on the Colts or Broncos, specifically the Broncos in the early 2010s, mid 2010s. I mean, Demaryius Thomas was a top 5 or 6 receiver in the game for about a 4 or 5 year stretch. I mean, this guy had incredible hands, great playmaking ability, excellent red zone threat, and he was always a guy that you were nervous to go up against. He was an incredible talent. He's a great fantasy wide receiver too, especially when he's playing with Peyton Manning. He's just a beast, and I couldn't believe the news when I actually heard it Thursday. I was actually with your brother, by the way, Chet, that night. And he's the one who told me. I think he saw it on Instagram or something. I was like, no way, Demaryius Thomas. He was retired 2 years because he was on the Pats preseason squad 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just another, testament to how short life is. Don't take anything for granted, and take care of your people, because Demaryius Thomas did that. Everyone after he died was talking a lot about how much of a philanthropist he was, or just a generous guy to his community, always hanging out with kids, and just an overall astounding person. So rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. Fly high 88. I'm not gonna forget those moments against him as a Patriots fan, because there were a lot, and he was a beast, hell of a player, and sucks that he was taken away from us so quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at some of these career years, like you said, from the years 2012 all the way to 2016, over 1,000 receiving yards. And his highlight year, that of course you can't have overshadowed, is the 2013 season where he had 92 receptions for 1,430 yards and 14 receiving touchdowns. And following in 2014, followed up with a career high of 111 receptions for 1,619 yards and 11 touchdowns. He was a talented wide receiver and just a good man on and off the field. Many people said his smile and his personality was what brought life to the room every step of the way. He was just a person who could really make a down situation really a positive one. And like Tim said here, there's no way to calculate when your time is, and this was his time, and you never know when your name will be called at the end of the day. So rest in peace to Demaryius Thomas. He will be dearly missed and remembered for what he brought to the game of football.
Absolutely.
But now moving on to a little more, to lighten the mood a bit. For all you New England sports fans, we're going to hop right into it and talk about these New England Patriots. So as we talked about last episode, 7 straight wins. This team has just been unstoppable in every way, shape, and form in the game. You're talking about at a point where we were all kind of getting nervous and scratching our heads because this team was 2-4, and somehow Bill Belichick has put himself in the ballots for Coach of the Year and has brought his team from 2-4 to 9-4, and has potential to possibly, if they can win multiple games, secure the number 1 seed in the AFC when they weren't even close to doing that 8 weeks ago at this point. So
yeah, it's been an incredible turnaround from this Patriots team. Incredible turnaround. And big test this weekend against the Indianapolis Colts. Jonathan Taylor on the road. This game was flexed to prime time too, so we're gonna have a good one. And for a Patriots team that has won, like you said, Chet, 7 games in a row. These guys have looked like the best team in the AFC the last pretty much 2 months of the season, and this is probably their biggest test since, other than Buffalo, all year. Started there, but this whole team, complete team, started 0-3. They've won 7 of their last 10 games. They really are one of the better teams in the AFC. Also, despite what the record says, I think that they should be, arguably the same record as the Patriots at 9-4. So this is going to be a really physical game. I think that it's kind of going to be a little restoration of the Pats-Colts rivalry, and let's see if Mac Jones does something on the road right here in Indianapolis, coming off a game where he threw just 3 passes and had a bye week. He's thrown 3 passes in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
NFL games. So, Pat's off a bye. It's really interesting to see them as underdogs off a bye. And I like the odds there. So what do you have to say about this, Chet?
I mean, what I have to say about this is you're looking at a Patriots team right now that's sitting at 6-0 on the road, which is a huge stat line right there. That's the best in the league right now, being away. This team looks really solid coming into this. And yes, we're probably going to be – it's going to be some questions to see what the game plan is going to be, because like we've said every single time, it's been weird with Belichick this season and in seasons before this. You kind of expect a certain game plan, but then a complete 180s pulled. And I think this is something that could be interesting, because right now, as you know, the Colts are favored by -2.5 in this one.
And it was 1.5. It moved a full point.
Which obviously
people are loving the Colts in this.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think it comes down to this Patriots run defense, because the Patriots run defense has been solid, but what we've seen in recent weeks, especially against the Tennessee Titans, who are without Derrick Henry, had both Donta Foreman and Damian Hilliard rush for over 100 yards on us. So this could be a huge day coming for Jonathan Taylor, because the Colts offensive line is without a doubt one of the best in the league. Carson Wentz having a career year as well, 2,948 passing yards, 22 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions on the year. Michael Pittman Jr. will more than likely reach 1,000 receiving yards by the end of the season. And I mean, it's going to be a tough test, but something to think about is the Colts-Patriots rivalry. it's always been hyped up.
Oh, yeah.
Always. And then at the end of the day, the Patriots come in and stop the Colts out, and everyone just forgets about the rivalry again. But it's a different era. No more Peyton Manning.
That's a good way to put it. The Pats
Yeah.
have really dominated this rivalry for pretty much
You
the
could say
last.
rivalry.
When was the last time the Colts even beat the Pats? Never with Andrew Luck. Dude, I think it was like 2000. I don't even know, dude. Maybe like 2008.
Yeah.
Nine maybe. I think 2009.
The last time the Patriots lost to the Colts was when Peyton Manning was there.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Put it simply.
But the Patriots had Tom Brady. So now the question comes into play, is Mac Jones going to be able to keep up the pace? Because he didn't pass a lot last week, and 2 weeks ago. And obviously, there's a number of different things going on there. It could just be Bill. Obviously, Bill was trying to prevent the ball from going haywire because there was a lot of wind in that game. We are in a dome here. We should see them go back to the original game plan. That's kind of what I expect, kind of do run heavy, but when Mac Jones throws the ball, it's effective and it doesn't do too much. You know what I'm saying? It's not over the top. And then trick plays going on here and there. It's kind of hard to predict, but I see the Patriots playing in this game very well. And I don't know. It's going to be a close one for me. It's tough for me to pick them because they did just go on a bye week. They have had some time off in a way, not saying they could lose focus, but sometimes a bye week can make you lose the steam that you had moving the train along forward. So, I mean, it's really tough for me to pick someone in this game. And Jonathan Taylor, as I said, having a phenomenal season, leads running backs by over 300 yards in the running back title category, 1,348 rushing yards and 16 rushing touchdowns. Mind you, most of those came in the last few weeks.
It's crazy that I traded him.
Crazy.
It's nuts. But I think on a real note, if there's one man who can stop Jonathan Taylor, it's Bill Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
And, we saw Taylor have, I wouldn't say bad outings at all because he's Jonathan Taylor. He's going to get in the end zone at least once, pretty much every game. But, we've seen him have more mediocre outings against, more stout defenses, besides the Buffalo Bills, of course.
Yeah. Besides those,
Belichick can devise something up to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
Now, I feel like a lot of these teams, when they play the Patriots, for the first time in their careers, Jonathan Taylor's first time ever playing the Pats, they get a little bit nervous. So, on a real note, dude, I think the Pats can come in the Lucasville Stadium this weekend. We got Saturday night. Sucks we're going to miss like the first half pretty much.
Yeah.
But I think the Pats win this game 23-20. I'm thinking overtime, little field goal, and call me crazy, but the Pats are going to go to 10-4, 8th straight win. Another, marquee victory against a pretty good football team. And I know I sound biased. I know I am a little bit biased, but I want to take the Pats because I'll take coaching on any day of the week. Good and coaching and good defense is such a lethal combo.
Yeah.
And I think the Pats can, do that to Carson Wentz. I mean, Carson Wentz against the Pats, I think he's played them just once in his career 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He was shaky. I'm not saying different Eagles team than is this Colts team. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't envision Bill Belichick having a hard time putting up a game plan for Carson Wentz.
Yeah, it's definitely a notion where I feel like Bill's going to devise some type of run defense scheme that's going to really cause problems for Jonathan Taylor and then put matters into Carson Wentz's hands and force him to throw. Because I think that's what he wants, is for that to happen. Because Colts game plan is kind of at this point becoming much similar to what the Tennessee Titans game plan is. A lot of runs, a lot of play action. So it's just going to come down to, can this team read those plays? The defense has been solid. We haven't had any injuries going down the stretch. I think I am going to take the Patriots very hesitantly. I almost want to take the Colts, but I'm going to take the Patriots just because Bill Belichick's taken us this far down the road, and I think there's a chance that we might actually have a shot at winning this game and getting one step closer to clinching a playoff berth.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that Patriots this is a huge game for them too. A huge game for both teams. The Colts fighting for a playoff berth, 7-6, and we have a whole bunch of teams who are right around that same range in the AFC. The Patriots sitting a lot comfier in the situation in the Indianapolis Colts. So you can say the same thing about the Colts. Like, hey, the Colts must win game at home, prime time. They're going to win this thing. But my gut feeling
Mm-hmm.
/ Rhode Island heritage and residency is making me take the New England Patriots in this game. They Pats by 3. They're covering the spread. And a little preview of my upset later. A little foreshadow right there. Give me the Patriots. Mac Jones, 2 touchdown passes, 238 yards, 20 of 25 through the air. Damian Harris, another one on the ground as well. Missed extra point is going to make us go to overtime. And then Nick Folk is going to can that through the uprights from 38 yards away on the second drive of OT.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's my whole game prediction.
Wow. Well, we'll see, because as of right now, the Colts do lead the league. Well, they are in second place in the league in terms of rushing totals. They average about 150 yards a game. They're second behind the Philadelphia Eagles, who average 160 a game.
I read
However,
that today. The Eagles are first in the league in rushing yards. I couldn't believe that.
yeah.
With Miles Sanders just being so mid all season.
Hey,
A
Jalen
lot of it's
Hurts.
Jalen Hurts too.
Yeah.
So the same thing with RG3
Yeah.
in Washington. They led the league in rushing yards with like 200 a game. Lamar Jackson the last 2 years in the Ravens offense. But the Eagles, man, they're surprising a lot of teams this year.
Yeah. But the Patriots defense ranked number 3 in the league in terms of total yards allowed. They're third in the league. So we'll see what happens. They're kind of mid-tier in terms of the run game. A little upper mid-tier, I'd say. So a lot to look forward to in this one. It's going to be a tight game. Not many people know who's going to come out on top. So we'll have to see on Saturday night and go from there. But for tonight, we're going to make a prediction right here, because this game's going to be very good. Because last season, these two teams met back in week 2, and the Chargers managed to defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 27-24 with the clock running down, and Justin Herbert in his rookie season secured his first victory over the Chiefs. And now
the Chiefs won that game.
Oh, they did, right?
Yeah.
I'm crazy then. Wow.
So the punctured lung game from Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah, but the thing is right
this
here.
Season though. So
yeah. So the thing is here, this team, the Chargers, they're in a very interesting situation right now. This team currently sits at 8-5. They do have a playoff spot as of right now if the season were to end today. But a win tonight could put them on top of the division over the Kansas City Chiefs. And it is at home in LA. I'm going to take the Chargers in this one. I just like Justin Herbert way too much to really vote against him. Sure, the Chiefs are starting to come back this year and start to power their way back, but there's still inconsistencies. I don't want to sit here and pretend that the Chiefs are utterly perfect because of what they've done these last few weeks. The weeks before, that's a little inexcusable for some of their, antics and even their scoring, because when they beat the Cowboys, this team was gloating and they only scored 19 points. This team really hasn't done, I can't say they haven't done too much. They battled back. This team is 3-2 on the road right now, going up against a 4-3 team at home. But I just think Justin Herbert is going to put on a show tonight. It's going to be a shootout between these two teams. I don't know if it's going to be high scoring, but it's definitely going to be somewhere around 20, 30 points. So for me right now, the spread right now for this one is -3 in favor of the Chiefs. But I'm taking the Chargers tonight with a final score of 30-26.
All right. I agree. I'm taking the Chargers spread. But I'm taking the Chiefs to win this game. And the reason why is because the Chargers won earlier in the season. And for a quarterback as great as Patrick Mahomes is, kind of like Brady with the Saints last year in the playoffs, I just don't see him getting swept by any team in the regular season. I don't see anyone getting this guy's number twice in 1 year. So yeah, he's to this day, fifth year in the league, 4th year as a starter, yet to have been swept by a divisional opponent in the season. I don't think it happens tonight. I think the Chiefs win this game very, 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 very closely. This game does have overtime potential as well. But I'm thinking the Chiefs by 3 in this game. I think the Chargers are going to cover the spread or at least push in the very worst. They could win outright, but with Patrick Mahomes and company, it's going to be tough for them to beat him twice in a year. And I think the Chiefs are going to look back a lot that film from Week 3. I think they're going to learn from a lot. And sure, this offense has been very lackluster in recent weeks. The last, more than over a month now at this point, this team has not looked the same on offense as opposed to the last, 2-3 seasons. But I think the Chiefs go on the road in LA tonight. They're going to SoFi. They're going to win there for the second straight year. They won overtime there last year. And I think we might see a similar story tonight. Give me the Kansas City Chiefs by a final score of 34-31. And hopefully it's 33-31 because I have the Chargers +3. I don't want to push. I want to win money. But I like the Chiefs in this game to win outright. And I think when it comes to all-timers like Patrick Mahomes, because he is an all-timer already. I mean, he's already one of the best quarterbacks we've ever seen in the history of the NFL. And Herbert has the potential too. So if he wins this game tonight, it's going to be incredibly huge for the Chargers, cities of San Diego and Los Angeles.
Oh yeah,
club trying to get their first division title, I believe, in 12 seasons.
Yeah.
Because they're still in the thick of things, and if they want that to happen, a win tonight is imperative. But against a guy like Patrick Mahomes, give me KC on the road tonight.
It'll be a tough game.
It'll be close. It will be very close, though.
It's going to be a pretty hard-fought game because both quarterbacks and offenses are going to be having such a heyday because you're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs being in the lower bottom tier in terms of defense and then the Chargers being middle of the pack. So this game could go either way, honestly. I like the Chargers in this one, though, tonight, and I think they're going to take one step closer to try and battle for that division title because they're hungry. And, I have belief in Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I believe in him too, but
yeah.
I'll take my boy Patty Mahomes.
Yep.
And maybe back in week 3 or so. I did take them back in week 3 of the Chiefs, and they burnt me. But I just don't see a team like the Chargers who, I'm very, very apt to, superstitions and alongside, historics of teams. And this team always finds a way to lose in the worst ways. The Chargers, they almost did 2 weeks ago against the Cincinnati Bengals, being up 24-0 in that game.
Yeah.
With the Chiefs, I think they're going to have to play the perfect game. And I don't think they're going to do it twice in 1 year. So,
yeah,
Andy Reid, give me his cheeseburgers. Give me the speed of Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman. And, the fade on Travis Kelce's head. KC by 2.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to move into a couple more segments real quick. We're going to talk about a little more NFL news. The first one, we're going to talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars deciding to pull the plug on the Urban Meyer experiment. Urban Meyer was known for having a great head coaching career from 2012 to 2018 with the Ohio State Buckeyes. Finally comes up to the NFL to coach the Jacksonville Jaguars, and not very long after, the team decides to cut him in the beginning of this rebuild, which to me, it's a little questionable if you ask me. I mean, kind of.
That takes a little questionable to me, Chet. I mean, for a guy like Urban Meyer, 2-11, lost all control of the team, grinding on, 20-year-old girls at bars.
Well, that I didn't know of. So,
and you heard about his history. How he kicked Josh Lambo pregame in the preseason. You probably saw that, right?
He did. I honestly,
that was a report that made right before they fired him. Was he said that Josh Lambo kicked him before a preseason game in the shin. He goes, "Make your kicks, dipshit," or something like that.
Wow.
They fired him. Lambo no longer on the team, but just shows how much of a poor leader Urban Meyer has been in Jacksonville. I mean, really, if you want to summarize the whole thing, or microcosm of the whole thing, it's just the incident after the Bengals game. Him going to the bar, grinding with 20-something-year-old women when he's married and wouldn't go back.
That I remember. Okay,
after the first close game they played all season, he stays in Columbus trying to get some poon, or
Yeah.
excuse me, trying to get some. I saw we had 0 viewers, so I decided to say that, but my bad.
No, it's all
It's
good.
just bad, dude. I mean, it's a bad look for the team. It's a bad look. It's a bad look for Urban Meyer and his career as a coach. It's the guy who came out of retirement to coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah. So I'm gonna have to retract my statement from earlier, obviously,
Yeah,
because
and he's just 2-11. Couldn't make it through his first season.
no.
Inked a 5-year deal in the summer. Couldn't even make it, or March, excuse me. Couldn't even last an entire season. I mean, this guy sucked in the NFL. And for a lot of these head coaches, we see a lot of them who are from college flame out in the NFL, and Urban Meyer has unfortunately added himself to that list this season.
Yeah, and I mean, it kind of seems like based on the details that have come forth from reports, it's more or less to me that obviously this is a guy who kind of got sucked up into the spotlight too quick, doing irrational things, things that he wasn't really thinking about. And because of those things, it caused a distraction to what his job really was, which was to coach this team. You literally, with the first round pick of the draft, you draft the top quarterback prospect, Trevor Lawrence,
Like ever.
and ever, like probably one of the most hyped up quarterbacks I've ever seen in the draft, and suddenly his name is dropped. I hardly hear about Trevor Lawrence anymore. And
Yeah.
and you look at this offensive total yards for the Jaguars this season, they are ranked 30th in the league. They average about 303 yards a game, which is unbelievable that a team can do that. And then in terms of defense, like it's just unreal. You get a first round draft pick and you can't draw up any scheme to really make him produce. Their
Terrible.
defense is like has had its moments and sparks, like the 9-6 victory over the Bills. Cool. That's one of their only wins of the year. But this team, like,
That
sure,
was pretty cool.
it's in a rebuild, but at the same time, it doesn't look like that because they just look awful. Awful.
Yeah.
There's nothing for them to do in these games. James Robinson, totally out of the picture this year. He doesn't really have a lot to say this year. Last season, he put on some big numbers. And this season, I mean, due to injuries, of course, that he sustained, he's just not really getting the ball and moving it effectively. And same with the offense in general. They don't have the weapons, they don't have the targets, and the defense just isn't good enough for them to carry on. However, you have young guys there. And Urban Meyer clearly wasn't working out because of his distractions on and off the field. So at the end of the day, a change needed to happen in order to push this rebuild forward because this team's not going to grow if it doesn't have a competitive nature for the team.
And I think when it comes to Jacksonville, I think this is a team that's talented enough and young enough and has a lot of good players on offense, especially Trevor Lawrence being the highlighter. You got DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault. I mean, talented guys on offense. I think it's a team that next year, and defense too. I mean, Josh Allen had a hell of a game against the other Josh Allen earlier this season. Good guys on defense. I think in a couple of years or maybe next year at the soonest, we might change the narrative to Urban Meyer was the problem in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
That's a realistic thing that could happen if they turn around next season. I mean, Trevor Lawrence season, like you said, Chet, completely out of the spotlight. You know, you don't see any highlight videos of him on Instagram or Snap or anything because their team is so bad. They've averaged less than 9 points since their bye week per game.
It's such a tough year for a rookie quarterback right now because the only
changing head coaches mid-season.
The only rookie quarterback anybody's talking about right now is Mac Jones. I mean, he's been the only one that's really been doing much. You have Trevor Lawrence, who's not working out. Well, not working out. Just he can't do anything. And then you have Zach Wilson, who's on the Jets. So what? But then you have Trey Lance, who hardly even plays a snap because Jimmy G basically has proven, and he has proven, that he deserves to be the starter over there. But make way because he'll probably eventually step in at some point. But then Justin Fields. He's on a Chicago's Bear team that offers him nothing. He has nothing to go to. Allen Robinson sucks. He's absolutely terrible. Like, I don't understand.
I was looking at his stats today, dude. I didn't realize how bad they were.
It's atrocious. Like, dude, I'm telling you.
50 yards this year.
I'm telling you, by like week 5, I took him out of my lineup in one of my leagues.
Well, I don't know if Chet's computer died. Oh, here he is. He's coming back. What happened?
Okay, I don't know what I did. I accidentally clicked something and just refreshed my page. Anyways, my point being was I took him out of my fantasy lineup like back in week 5 because I was like, dude, this guy is just blowing my mind at how terrible he is. He's just not. He's not good. Like Allen
He was
Robinson
the
sucks.
he was the only good part of the trade I made when I traded Jonathan Taylor was getting rid of him because he sucks.
He's terrible.
Terrible. One of the worst picks I've ever had.
But now to get back to Jacksonville, the real question that comes up is who is going to take on as the head coach in the offseason? Who is this team going to sign? And right now, the major talks of who will become the head coach at number 3 right now is Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. McDaniels has voiced in the past that he would like to become a head coach at some point again.
He's not leaving, dude.
But well, listen to what I'm saying here. Like, let me finish my point. Coaches the Denver Broncos, comes to New England, wins 3 Super Bowls, nearly leaves to go and become the head coach of the Colts before Frank Reich comes along, decides to stay, and now here's another head coaching opportunity. You got a young team with a lot of young players and a number 1 overall quarterback, like a number 1 pick quarterback. This is a guy who I don't care if he's sucking so far this year. He's got talent. I guarantee by his sophomore year, we will see an explosion. That is something that Josh McDaniels might have to look at and think about. Another head coach that we're looking at is Eric Bieniemy, I think is his name.
Yes, he's been on the head coaching waiver wire for a couple of years now, the Chiefs offense coordinator. But back to what you were saying about McDaniels. I mean, after that whole Colts thing a couple of years ago, I'm not going to take any head coaching rumor about him seriously ever again. I mean, I think he's just waiting for Belichick to retire, just like, the prince is waiting for his mom to die.
But at this point, it's like if Belichick can take a 2-4 team and turn it into a 9-4 team, question is McDaniels really I feel like the thoughts will be pondering a little bit more now about leaving because it's just hindering his time and keeping him in his spot. So, I mean, I don't know. But if he likes to win, obviously, if you win on a team, you get paid out a lot more than you do if you lose and get nothing, So, I mean, it's weird. I don't know. It's tough for me, like you said, too, to take any of this seriously. But it's an option for this team to look at. And then finally, your final candidate is former Eagles head coach Doug Peterson. There is.
I thought you were going to say Chip Kelly for a second.
No. Yeah, they're going to just go and call him back. But and this one makes a lot more sense to me because, hey, as much as Doug Peterson's years did fall out towards the end of his career with the Eagles, he brought them to a Super Bowl. They won the Super Bowl. The team was competitive for years when he was there. And I mean, it just kind of came down to things just weren't working out anymore with the team that he had built that won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He has a chance to do it again here to build the Jacksonville Jaguars into a competitive team again, because I don't care what people said about the end of Doug Peterson's career in Philly. When he started there, he brought competitiveness to that team. And this team still could have a chance down the line. And the Jags could have a chance in a few years to become one of those competitive teams.
Yeah, and Doug Peterson, like you said, Super Bowl winning head coach. So it's going to be a shock if he doesn't have a head coaching job somewhere next year, I think. Because he's a great football coach. He's a great leader, good football coach. Just like you said, things were working on in Philly. They needed a rebuild after the Peterson Wentz era kind of failed out. But he is a championship winning coach. But that kind of gives him a little bit more leverage to maybe get a better coaching situation than in Jacksonville. I think he's going to be a lot of these teams. I think he's going to be on a lot of teams' waiver wires looking for a head coach, and he could definitely, get a better team to work with too. But if he wants to go to Jacksonville, I have no doubt that they will look better this year than what they did with that guy, Meyer. So,
yeah. And right now, I mean, it's tough because the Jaguars are almost like this. It's like you expect them to be like this every season. And
Yeah.
it's crazy to see that a few seasons ago, this was a team that nearly took down the New England Patriots to go to the Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. It was a close game.
It's so funny to think about that all the time. That
Yeah.
2017 season was so weird.
It was a weird season.
We had Nick Foles, Case
Patriots were 14-2. Like, that's crazy.
Would say
Patriots were 14-2 that year.
13-3.
Okay, yeah.
I was being a dick. Sorry, man.
I know, you're always like this. Now, so that concludes our discussion on the Jaguars. Urban Meyer, done. This team needs to figure itself out going towards the offseason. And really, I really think this was the start of them to start looking at these head coaching options. But something that is really broken out around the league is something that we're all just tired of hearing about day to day. COVID-19 really making its way through NFL locker rooms. Cleveland Browns have lost a lot of players, including Jarvis Landry and Austin Hooper, along with at least 7 others, and several other teams experiencing quarantines. And now there's a new rule in the NFL that players must test negative for at least 48 hours in order to return to the league. Well, in order to return to play. And now most teams like the Browns are returning to just fully remote operations in terms of training because there's just no way they can do it without protecting the players. So we thought it was gone. There was literally hardly any problems this year. Few players were getting on the COVID list, but once October came around and November, that's when things started to take a downhill spiral. So it's
pretty peculiar, seeing
is.
so many players in 1 week getting COVID. I mean, Washington football team, over 20 players on the COVID list this week. Their spread against the Eagles moved from 5 to 8.5 because of how many players they have on the COVID list. It's pretty unfortunate because all these players, or the majority of them, have been vaccinated. And now it's just back. I mean, COVID's back and ready to go, baby.
Yeah.
2022 is going to be lit.
And as of right now,
just so unfortunate because everyone tried to get rid of this. Everyone has done their part, I think, pretty well. And it just randomly came back in a huge spurt this week. And it's a pretty unprecedented rise for any league for it to spike up that much in the matter of days. And this week.
Yeah, and according to a USA Today article, from yesterday, roughly 100 NFL players since Monday have tested positive for COVID-19. And Roger Goodell and Chief Medical Officer Alan Sills respond to whether, this could postpone certain games, which it could very well do so. As of right now, this Raiders-Browns game is going as scheduled. There has not been any players that have come down with the virus since, but it's been popping up, and it's kind of just – it's a head-scratcher, man. It just makes you – it's weird.
It's what I miss about the 2020 season, the extra Monday night game that was postponed, or the Tuesday game or the Wednesday game.
Yeah.
Was postponed.
Remember we had an entire week of football last season? That was awesome.
Yeah. I remember the Thanksgiving game with the Ravens Steelers got postponed to like the following Wednesday or something, and it was crazy. Or Tuesday.
That is crazy.
It was lit. Last year was lit with COVID. I'm not going
to lie. It was.
For the guys who got COVID, but as a fan, just seeing a postponed game on a Wednesday or Tuesday, it was dope.
It was pretty dope.
I hope all these guys are good and they're safe. I hope the virus minimizes in the league because as fans too, at the end of the day, we also want more football going to January, February, and so on and so forth. So hopefully this doesn't affect the season too much, but it looks like it could affect a couple games down the stretch here towards the end of the year. And hopefully the Super Bowl is on time this season.
Yeah, for sure.
If it's spurted this much in December, hopefully it doesn't get any worse in week 16, 17, 18, and the playoffs after that, which it could. And we know how COVID is. It has the tendencies to just spike whenever it feels like. So I'm a little bit nervous. I'm going to be honest, but I'm just glad the majority of people have been vaccinated so far, though. That's the reassuring part about it.
Yeah,
people's
I'm actually considering getting my COVID booster pretty soon, just because of the amount of people that are getting sick lately, and the fact that the state of Rhode Island's
you're tweaking.
And the fact that the state of Rhode Island's putting up a mask mandate again in certain
Yeah.
places. So I mean, it's
Such
just
as
weird times.
high school arenas. We're going to have to go through that this weekend. Any arena, I think, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. It's bizarre.
It's crazy. It just changed so many people's lives.
Yeah.
It's just a germ, you know. It's nuts.
Yeah. It's a germ. It's nuts.
You know.
All right. Just wanted to give a quick update about COVID outbreak. What the hell? Anyways, moving into a fan favorite segment, locks and upsets. We're going to be giving our locks and upsets this week, our picks. Like we said before, if you have a lock and an upset that you like, let us know what it is in the comments below. And if we like your pick, we might actually invite you on the show. So just drop those in the comments section. You might have a chance to come on here and discuss football with Chet and Duffy. All right. So, Duffy, you give us your lock to start this week. Since you have now officially moved to 18-6 after going 2-0, I have dropped to 1-1 on the season. Well, 1-1 there.
75%.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this quick because my MacBook's at like 3%. But like I just said, Washington football team, 21 guys on the COVID list. Give me the Eagles at home, -8.5. Do they cover? Maybe. Do they win? Absolutely. I mean, this Eagles team, 6-7. They're right in the thick of things in the NFC. This is a huge game for both these teams, both in the playoff picture right now, I believe, and locked in I believe Eagles are also looking in, but the Washington football team, they're both 6-7. So they're both 6-7.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are going to give themselves some leverage this Sunday, take advantage of all those guys who are missing for Washington and win at home in front of their home crowd. And this is a must-win game for them if they want to get in the playoffs as probably the 7th seed at this point. And I think they're going to take this one. It's my lock of the week. And ride with me because I'm hot. I'm 18-6.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like you just can't lose. For me, I absolutely cannot lose. Otherwise, I will probably just jump through the ceiling. I'm taking the Bills over the Panthers this week. Bills suffered a very tough loss. In a tied game, they managed to come back against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to make it 27-27, lose in overtime on a very horribly defended pass to Brashard Perryman. This team needs a pickup game, and they're going to get it this week by destroying the Carolina Panthers at home. Now, I'll wrap up with my upset, too, really quickly.
I was pissed. As a Bills plus 3.5 better, I was pissed.
Yeah,
they came all the way back, won the coin toss, and get crapped on in OT. That hurt. That hurt a lot.
Yeah. For my upset, we already discussed it earlier. I'm taking the Chargers this week over the Chiefs tonight. I just think Justin Herbert really has a goal in mind tonight, something to shock the league, and I think the Chargers are going to take the league by storm tonight and have people scratching their heads about the Kansas City Chiefs once again. It'll make the AFC West a lot tighter in terms of the playoff picture, and I think this is what the league really wants right now. I'm taking the Chiefs. I mean, Chargers. Jesus. Knock on wood. I can't lose this. I can't lose. I can't lose.
I feel like the league would like that a little bit, but
they would. They'd love it.
Like I said earlier, I mean, I hope the Chargers win this game as a Patriots fan and as a bettor.
And speaking of Patriots,
that'll be my upset of the week. Pats over Colts, baby. And I'm undefeated picking Pats as an upset this year when they're underdogs, and I hope I'm going to keep that trend going. Pats will win this week on Saturday night. Me and Chet will be streaming the game at 0 volume at Moses Brown.
That's right. We should have that nearby.
And he's going to watch me move to 19-6 on the season and watch me win some additional cheddar too when I have that Pat spread this week.
If you get both games right, you're going to be 20-6.
And there will be 3 weeks left. So if I get both games right and you get one wrong, I already win. Yeah, but we do playoffs too. So we do playoffs too. So we're still doing through the playoffs.
Yeah.
Jeez,
all right.
That's the best I've ever had, dude.
Yeah, that's basically a Chet and Duffy record. Basically, like for real. Even on the old podcast, dude. Our records were always dead even. This is the first year you've blown me out of the water.
I was always I remember the first year I was like a game behind you, but I think you said that like you were picking some shitty games to get me back in.
Yep.
I was showing
You
about like
gotta.
4 at one point. Last year, I don't even remember last year's because we
Yeah.
transitioned from unapologetic to this mid-season. Um, but this season, man, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, your boy Duffy on top. We should make like a wager next year before the end of the season and just
We
we should
could.
get some money from now on.
Yeah, we
We
should do
still
that.
could though, you know?
Yeah.
Nah, we're not.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it. We could. We'll sit and think about that and let that
Amen.
sit there.
Amen.
But all right, that does it for tonight's show. Thank you all for tuning in. We will be back Wednesday, and we will see you all just before Christmas time. So, before Christmas comes. So, be sure to tune in next Wednesday at 6 p.m. We will be back here on Fans Only Sports Network to give you all of your good pro football sporting news. And hopefully some of you tune into tomorrow and Saturday night's hockey games because those will be some good games to hear us call. So thank you all for tuning in to Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. This is Chet and Duffy signing off. We'll see you all next week. And as always, go Pats.
Go Pats. Peace.